Thank you, Professor Haga. That's very kind introduction. And I'm very happy to share the survey result on digital heritage preservation in Asia Pacific. Let's see. All right. And before my presentation, I'd like to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Andrew Henderson, Secretary General of MOWCAP, to preparing for this survey and PPT materials. And as you see, this survey is aimed to identify what principal policies, archives, and museums and libraries implement in the Asia Pacific, and what are their challenges and what are their needs for capacity building support. Let's get back to the previous survey in case of UNESCO Persist. The online survey took place between September and December 2016. In total, 48 responses from 33 countries completed in the survey, as you see the image. But unfortunately, very few responses from Asia. Only 2 countries, maybe Philippines and how can I say? And we have 5 responses from Africa. In the case of OpenGram, in 2018, OpenGram conducted a global survey, and they want to ascertain how well the OpenGram principles were well understood. Overall, of the 109 responses received from the survey, and 30% from the Europe and 25% Oceania, predominantly Austria and New Zealand, and 19% North America and 90% Latin Central America. But unfortunately, Asia Pacific is only 2.8. That means we have very little responses. The survey is very simple, just 3 questions. As you see, is there in your country's organization, is there a written national strategy for the long-term preservation of the digital heritage? And second question is there anything which will help your government or organization to implement a strategy for the long-term preservation of digital heritage? And third one is, what is your key challenges? And that the survey was conducted last month, and we have only 29 responses. And we used our global Google form. Taking this opportunity, we would like to thank the colleagues from the UNESCO Policy Working Group. And from 29 responses, we have 4 participants from India, and 3 participants from Myanmar, then 2 from New Zealand, and 2 from Singapore. So the rest of them are only 1 participant. And let's go back to the more specifically. And as for the questions, any written national strategy for long-term preservation, then 44% of Asia Pacific has no written strategy. And 32%, yes, only organizational level. So that means museums, archives, and library policy. And only 12%, yes, they have national and organization level, certain written national strategy. We have a very meaningful few comments, and as you see there is some institutional level policy at the national, the level of a national institution, but this policy is rolled out down through the low level of administrations. So that means does not have at all the touch private sector institutions such as university institution and commercial establishment. And the other comments is said that we would like to have the written strategy. However, we have to refer to the nations who has developed their strategy. And as for the question about is there anything which help your government to implement your strategies, then 18 responses said emphasize on the strategic partners at the national level, and 17 responses said, yeah, we need some sharing of information and solution, and 14 responses said regional cooperation, and also they want to share tools and repositories. And some comments, they said, yes, also they emphasize on the training opportunity. And also some comments about they want to develop the plans for the making timely transition to new software and addressing the potential obsolescence of existing IT systems. And as for the question about what is the key challenges you are facing, then 19 responses said the lack of technical expertise, and 17 and 16 responses said their lack of the best practice and lack of the funding. And comment says, yes, very important comments. There is some misconception that the initial funding for the digital preservation is sufficient to last a long time without realizing that once embarked upon, the digital preservation is an endlessly continuous and expensive process. And also, they are also said lack of a legal framework, and lack of capacity, a lack of financial and skilled human resources, and natural and man-made disaster risk. So I want to make a conclusion. So many organizations and countries in the Asia-Pacific do not have any written digital heritage preservation policies, and lack of best practice and lack of technical expertise and key barriers for the preservation of the digital heritage at the national and organization level. And in this region, more training support and from UNESCO, like MOWCAP and any other organizations. And this could be a form of a digital heritage preservation reservation system, and UNESCO persisted digital heritage selection guidelines and executive code guide, digital preservation and other tools. And also it is true that there appears to be a gap between developed and developing countries in terms of theorizing and developing policies and implementing projects relating to digital heritage and heritage preservation access. So, yeah, absolutely, we need some support for the developing countries for ensure that the digital preservation policies. Thank you very much.